Okay, this is the setup we're going to use for writing a few Java programs. I'm just using plain vanilla Notepad at the moment. I'm going to switch to Notepad++ in a little while because it does some nice color coding of Java and formatting and so forth. But I just want to show you this, that you're just writing plain text files, so Notepad will certainly do short term. And I've got three programs open here. I've got Notepad, as I've just said. I've got a command prompt, and I've got a file explorer up here. I just want to show you the file explorer so you can see various files as I create and save and compile as to what's actually going on. The command prompt, I've changed the directory. I'm working off a memory stick here. I changed the directory to be exactly the same as the file explorer. Now, one of the things that you need, there are two things that you need to be able to run a Java program. First of all, you've got to compile the Java code into class files, and then the second thing is you've got to run them. So there's two programs you need access to. One is Javac, Javac, which is the Java compiler, and the other is Java, which is the Java engine itself. And the way to see whether you've got access to that is you want it in the path. I'm working in what am I on? Windows XP here. You want it in the path file, so that the operating system will do its stuff behind the scenes and find it for you. And the easiest way of checking whether Java and Javac are both in the same directory. So if you just start with Javac and just type that, you should get a whole bunch of stuff there if the operating system can find it. If not, you're just going to get an error there. So in college, I think it's the Java and Javac, you can find them on the T drive. So all you want to do is go down into the bottom left of your screen, start, in fact, what is it called? Let's have a look here. It's called start search, and you'll type in there Javac star and search the T drive, and you should find it. And in fact, I did this earlier on today, and what you're after is something, Control C, it should look, the path should look something like that. T public blah 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 blah, and you can see you found it's found the Java development kit, and those two programs reside in that binary folder. So that's basically what you want the path to include. Now with XP, there'll already be a bunch of things set in the path by the IT guy, so you don't want to wreck what's already on there. So what you want to do is you want to modify the path so it takes whatever's in there at the moment, and it adds that directory to the end of it. So what you're after is something like this. You want path equals, and then you want to take what is already in the path, and then you're going to add, well, add that, no we won't. How do I cut and paste in, try that, there we are. So it looks like path is equal to the path that's already set in XP if you're on XP or Windows 7, and then it adds the directory to find Javac on the end of it. Now I don't need that on my local machine because I've already got this set up, but that's broadly what you're after. And the other annoying thing is that that path setting is temporary. Unless you've got write access to the admin settings on your particular machine, you're going to have to reset that every time you open one of these little black windows here, one of these command prompt windows. So what I do is I write a little batch file, and if I go over to Notepad here, I write a little batch file, and I would call it, I would put two things in it. I'd put path equals percent path %, so that grabs the original settings, and then semicolon, and then it adds that to the end, and that is basically all I have in my batch file, and I call that save as, and I want something incredibly quick to type. Why don't I just call it P, and just be wary that if you're working in Notepad you change that ending, or it'll just call it txt, and it's a batch file. And we'll stick this in F Java, my Java stuff. I'm going to stick it in that directory, p.bat. So whenever I open one of these command prompt windows, I just type p and return, and it'll run that particular file for me. Say p.bat, save that. And there we are. There's a little batch file. It says ms-dos batch file. So I will go into that directory and I would type p. There, that's it. Runs that little batch file for me. So it's taken whatever the path name was, in this case set my computer, and at the end is appended the path to find the Java development kit. That's probably broken my machine now. Let's just have a look and see, does it still work? Yeah, it does. Okay. So that's the first little batch file that you want. And the second, now, well, let's just write some code. We're going to do another batch file in a minute, but let's just write a bit of code in here. Let's just write a class. So we'll call this CLA class. We're going to call it robot. And the whole of Java, you cannot avoid writing in objects. Everything in Java is an object, and all the objects are made from classes. Just like you might have a class of warships, you'll have a bunch of warships that are made out of that. You have a particular destroyer class or something like that. Well, we've got a robot class here, and we're going to have just one method in it, which we're going to be making a public method. It's going to be static. It's the main method. Java programs have one main method. That's your entrance in. So there's only ever going to be one main method. Public static. Actually, it's void as well. Main. And it'll take a string, array, and my arguments. Spell that correctly. If I wanted to feed it some arguments. And that pretty well is a class. That should compile. In fact, let's just have it. It won't do anything, but let's just see if it can compiles. I want to save this. I want to save it. And the thing is, I have to save it. The weird thing is, I have to save it using that exact name there. So in other words, if that class with main in it is called robot, you've got to save it as robot.java. So if I now do file, save as, and just change the setting of Notepad here, I'm going to call it .java, and I'm saving it in there. Let's have a go. There we are. So now it's now recognised as a Java file. Let's go compile it. So we've set the path so we can find the compiler. I'm going to go javac, and I'm going to type robot.java, and that should compile it. Let's have a look, see if I've written it here. It seems to have compiled it. And now if you notice, it's produced the class. You notice the class has just popped up. So that is the compiled class ready for the Java virtual machine to run. And let's just run it, which is JAVA without the C. This is not the compiler. This is just the Java machine. And should run. Doesn't do anything, but it definitely runs. Now, you can see that's going to be a little bit of a pain in the backside doing that compile and run the robot. So we're going to write another little batch file that will do that for us. Let's just finish this off. Let's just add a let's make it do something. So we'll say system. We'll make a system call. This you'll use this loads of time. PRINTLN, and this is just going to print something out. And let's say something like that. Yippee. That's it. That's all that class is going to do. Now, because I've already saved this in Notepad, I've already saved this as robot.java. All I have to do over here now is Control S, and I go over to here, and I can recompile it again. It's compiled, and now run it. And there you are. Prints out yippies. Yeah, just run. Now, it's a real pain in the backside doing javac robot.java and then java robot. So what I tend to do is I write, let's just delete this, we've saved that. I tend to write a little batch file that does this. Watch. Javac. If I happen to be, I'm going to be working on robot.java for a while. I write .java, and then I write java robot. That's all my batch file does, and I normally call it R for run. So file, save as, change the ending, and call this r.bat. Hit save. I should have there a little batch file called run. So remove that. Let's open that up again. Edit. Open with Notepad. There we are. And now let's just change this. Let's say yippee dippy do. Control S to save. Go over here, and now what I type is an R to run it. Compiles it, runs it. There we are. Simple as that. Have a go. See how you get on setting that up.